Joe Johnson has been tearing it up in the Big Three League for the triplets. After short stints in Utah and Houston in the 2017-18 season, he's putting the NBA on notice by averaging around 22 points on 49% shooting and was named the Big Three MVP. Gone are his all-star days, where he was his team's first option and scoring 20 points a night. But in the right situation, he can still be a huge contributor in the upcoming season. The game has changed a lot over the years. In the modern NBA, the ability to make threes has become a necessity. Joe Johnson is a 37% three-point shooter for his career, and even though he struggled in his last NBA season, he's more than capable in knocking down threes and space the floor. After grabbing the rebound, he pops a corner three off the dribble. It's becoming a pattern since he does this almost every Big Three game. Even though he misses his first attempt, he has the innate ability to relocate to an open spot behind the line and nails a three. Once again, he relocates to the corner and nails a three before his defender can recover. I know that these half-court 3 versus 3 games are very different to normal NBA games, and we've got to take these with a grain of salt. But what he can replicate are these deep threes. Although there won't be a 4-point line in the NBA, his ability to make these will provide gravity to the offense. The ability to operate in the pick and roll is also a gold standard in the modern NBA. After a screen, he puts the defender in jail. A sidestep gets him some separation and he nails the jumper. He can also create for his teammates off of screens. Coming off a double screen, he throws a nice alley-oop pass to his teammate. He's not the most natural playmaker, and this time his pass gets intercepted. But more often than not, he'll make the simple passes. After the handoff and the rescreen, he puts his defender in jail again. This sucks in another defender, and it's an easy dump-off pass for the score. Switching schemes are used more than ever in the NBA, and this is where Joe Johnson will make an impact. They don't call him ISO Joe for no reason. He just goes right at his defender. He couldn't beat him off the dribble, but his floater still goes in. Bigger defenders will switch onto him, but he gets into the lane with ease, pump fakes, and scores. If his defender sags back, he will have no problem pulling from 3 off the dribble. With smaller defenders on him, ISO Joe can take them to school in the post. Against Chalmers, he backs him down and takes a nice step back jumper. When smaller defenders start to anticipate his back down, he'll use that against them, and a quick spin around the defender gets him a layup. With Terry on him, he spins towards baseline and he hits a nice floater over the top. When the defense starts to double, he reads the floor well and hits the cutter for a dunk. Once again, the double comes, and the pass leads to an open 3. On this play, the double comes, and he gives it up early. The defense miscommunicates. Johnson relocates himself and hits a 3. Once again, his performance in the Big Three League will need to be taken with a grain of salt, but we have seen him do all this at the NBA level before. Even though he's 38, his game has never been dependent on his athleticism, and no one is expecting him to play 30 minutes a night. He's not known for his defense, so whether his offensive contribution can outweigh his defensive limitations would be a concern. If he does join an NBA team, he'll come off the bench for around 15 to 20 minutes a night as a scoring forward. Currently, it's been reported that the Sixers, Clippers, Bucks, Nuggets, and Pelicans are interested in adding ISO Joe. I don't think his fit with the Nuggets will be great. ISO Joe is at his best with the ball in his hands, and occasionally moving off ball. Even though the Nuggets have a balanced offensive system, ISO Joe will be playing off ball most of the time. And as a backup, he might take away some playing time from their young prospects, like Malik Beasley and Jeremy Grant, who are both on the rise, or even Michael Porter Jr. For the Sixers, they would add more depth and have at least 2 scoring threats on the floor all game. I predict that they'll stagger their Big Four's minutes, where Simmons and Horford will be on the floor when Harris and Embiid sits, and vice versa. Adding depth and Johnson's shot making will be welcome, but he'll be relegated to spot-up duties, even more so than the Nuggets. And the Sixers will have to bank on Johnson's shooting efficiency bouncing back from the 2017-18 season. The same goes for the Bucks, but Malcolm Brogdon's departure left a shot creation void that Wesley Matthews and Cal Korver wouldn't fill. This is where ISO Joe can help, and even if he struggles with a 3-ball, the Bucks have enough shooting on the team, which seems like a safer fit than Denver and Philly. The Clippers' fit looks good, but more so because of injury concerns. Paul George will miss some time at the start of the season, and Kawhi might continue sitting out for his load management. Adding Johnson won't make up for the defense, but his scoring will be needed, assuming they keep Lou and Harrell off the bench. It's easy to see his fit with the Clippers, since Doc ran tons of screens and handoffs for Harris and Gallo last season. ISO Joe could be in Harris's position here, and he's confident enough to let the 3 fly coming off the screen. Coming off the screen again, he can pull for his bread and butter mid-range jumper. The Clippers also bullied mismatches in the post, so if a smaller defender switches onto Johnson, he'll just take them to school. Doc should station him in the corner when he's off the ball, since he's a career 40% shooter there. This addition would be beneficial if Kawhi and Paul George are out with injuries. If they aren't, the Clippers would have too many mouths to feed, and Johnson will be relegated to spot-up duties. His fit with the Pelicans would be nice as well. With David Griffin's emphasis on building a culture, adding a 38-years-old veteran would be a great locker room presence. Drew Holiday and Brandon Ingram are the Pelicans' only shot creator from the perimeter, and I think Zion will need some seasoning before being in that list as well. Ingram's blood clot condition could keep him out of games, leaving Holiday as their only shot creator. With a roster overhaul, it's hard to tell what sets the Pelicans will run, but slotting in ISO Joe here, he could be receiving the handoff and can easily get to the rack. If the young Pelicans offense bogs down, his ability to isolate can bail the team out. With multiple shooting wings on the team, the Pelicans won't have to worry even if Joe Johnson struggles with his 3-ball. The last team I think he'll fit in is the San Antonio Spurs. Even though they haven't been linked with ISO Joe, he would be a great addition to the team. After missing out on Marcus Morris, DeMarre Carroll is the sole proven option as the backup forward. ISO Joe's ability to create his own shot and mid-range deadeye fits perfectly with what the Spurs are doing. The Spurs run pick and rolls when the offense starts to bog down. ISO Joe can snake around the screen and hit the pull-up jumper. The Spurs are one of the best at identifying mismatches, and ISO Joe can just feast in the post. Last year, one of the best attributes for the Spurs is letting their players play to their strengths. Instead of taking the 3 with a defender closing out, ISO Joe can take a 1-dribble mid-range pull-up. Whereas his last stint playing for the Rockets, they would have insisted him on taking the 3 instead. Lastly, the Spurs have enough shooting to cover for ISO Joe if he struggles with his 3-ball, and they're great at balancing minutes for older players as well. I do think Joe Johnson deserves another chance playing in the NBA. It looks like he might get the chance with multiple teams scheduling workouts with him. The reason I think he'll be able to stick around is because he had successful stints in Miami and Utah, transforming himself into a role player. This is also why I think he'll get a chance at an NBA comeback before Melo does. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Comment down below on which other free agents should get another chance in the NBA, and I'll see you guys in my next video.